Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
My anus is bleeding.
He can't sit down.
They call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Beta male.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I tell you don't do it.
Oops.
We're under attack. It is an alien force, not of this world. It's not human intelligence.
Bullshit.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Bullshit.
It's not a salami sandwich.
Disappointed!
Repeat the line.
Disappointed!
How you like that, boy?
No.
Give me a break.
Stop it.
Fired.
Fired! Fired!
Bitch, move it along.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
You're full of shit.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. Welcome to the show. Around the nation here, Waldorf Nation. Jeff here with you today. We got a good show. We got a fun show. We have, of course, more stuff. More excuses for holding classified materials. That's fun. We have Eric Trump making some fun claims. We have Kari Lake with some BDE. What's BDE? Do you really want to know? And who has BDE? Fun. We're going to talk about that. We have a deep dive actually into the curriculum in Florida and how they're trying to inject religion, Christianity specifically, into public schools. So yeah, that is just a pretty scary story actually. When you think about it. And then if we have time, we're going to make fun of Lauren Boebert. Fun. All right. So if you haven't already, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Of course, helps us out. With that said, why don't we dive in? They should ask Trump if he's familiar with the BOFA Classification Act. Oh, please. Oh, somebody. I would love to see somebody ask that. There's also, by the way, there's not just, the BOFA classification. There's also the Ligma classification. So, interesting. Ligma and BOFA. Trump, what do you think about that? All right, anyway. That's it. Let's start out with some Mar-a-Lago stuff. Potent potables. You know what? I remember that from Celebrity Jeopardy. So good. All right. Let me see if I have any. Nope. Okay. There have been a lot of excuses as to how Mar-a-Lago ended up with at least 11 boxes of classified documents. Now, some of these excuses range from, we had a standing order to declassify them, so they weren't classified to begin with, to, the FBI, you see what they did is they actually planted them. The documents that we declassified, so they weren't actually classified, the FBI planted. Okay. Oh, strange. Now, since, of course, none of those happen to be true, members of former President Donald Trump's White House are now throwing Mark Meadows under the bus. Now, not Trump specifically, at least not yet. But this is a report here from CNN analyst Maggie Haberman, as well as Glenn Thrush, Alan Fior, and Katie Benner. So now a senior White House, a former White House, Trump White House source talked to the New York Times and basically said that, oh, it wasn't Trump's fault. No, it was Mark Meadows. Wait, what? Now, according to two people with knowledge of the situation, Mr. Trump and his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, the man who oversaw presidential records in the chaotic closing days of the administration, had failed to organize an effort to collect, box, and deliver materials to the National Archives, as prior presidents, as well as Mr. Trump's own vice president, Mike Pence, did. So Mike Pence did everything that he was supposed to do as far as like, this material that I shouldn't have access to, since I'm no longer vice president, pack it up, ship it back, send it to the National Archives. We're good. They did all that. Whereas apparently in Trump's White House, well, things got a little chaotic. Instead, apparently, they had focused on settling political grievances and going after personal grudges. In the weeks leading up to Mr. Trump's departure from the White House, officials discussed what to do about material that he had at various points taken up to the residence, Mar-a-Lago, and that needed to be properly stored and returned by then Staff Secretary Derek Lyons, known for trying to keep systems in place, had left the administration. Mr. Meadows said he would address such issues, according to a senior administration official. Oh, see, you know what? It wasn't Trump. He didn't do this. No. It was Mark Meadows. See, it's all that guy's fault. Look at stupid Mark Meadows over there. What a dumbass. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. Can't blame any of this on Donald Trump. No, even though somehow it ended up all these boxes at Mar-a-Lago. Now, look, there's some holes in this excuse. Number one, again, they took documents that were clearly marked classified to Mar-a-Lago. Now, look, I'll admit Donald Trump is lazy. And Donald Trump's not actually going to read through the document. You think Donald Trump, he didn't read while he was in the White House? You think he was going to read some of the stuff while leaving the White House? No, of course not. He doesn't read. And when he does, by the way, he's a one-pager kind of guy. He only reads tweets, I guess paragraphs with his name peppered in, because he's got to see the Trump name, maybe on some gold colored paper or in gold highlighter or something like that. But never really a full, pager kind of guy. But see, here's the thing. You don't have to sit there and read through paragraph in order to see the giant stamp that says classified. Any idiot can see that. Even Donald Trump, moron of morons, idiot of idiots, king of the dumb, can read one word, classified.
And then they say, "Is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person."
He's like a smart person.
I'm cognitively there.
He's there. He's cognitively there. He can read simply one word, right? You could just read one simple word. Classified. What's difficult about that? Okay, but anyway, now the second problem is, all right, if you were somehow dumb enough to miss the whole point, or to miss the fact that these were clearly marked as classified, okay, or even on the boxes labeled classified, if you were somehow dumb enough to still move them to Mar-a-Lago, all right, fine. Well, here's the thing. The National Archives then said, hey, we've got to, we're missing a bunch of documentation, okay, some of which we believe may be classified. Would you please send it back? They subpoenaed Trump to try to return those documents. This was months before the search was actually authorized. Hey, Trump, we think you've got documents that belong to the National Archives. Please send it back. Just package the material and send it. Now, they didn't do that. They sent some documentation back. They did return some of them, but then they didn't return the rest of them, and then lied about saying that we had sent the rest of them, sent everything back, and we don't have anything else. We don't have nothing. Now, at least one lawyer for Trump signed a written statement in June asserting that all material marked as classified and held in boxes in a storage area had been returned to the government for people with knowledge of the document said. It took a source inside of Mar-a-Lago to say, actually, no, there is classified material. I saw it. It's right there. I can direct you exactly where it is. Come get it. So, no, I don't believe they're excuses. Now, there is something in there that I do believe. Okay. Yeah, I think it's totally possible that the focus was on settling personal scores before he left the White House. Of course, 100%, I believe that's possible. But you'd think that they would, understand that they shouldn't be taking this stuff. That doesn't belong to them. Oh, of course, then again, Trump loves to take things that don't belong to him. Of course. And now, maybe on that note, well, Trump could have taken advantage of the distraction and the chaos to make sure that he might be able to take some things that he could make money off of. You think Donald Trump is above selling state secrets for cash? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. No. Remember, Donald Trump has done everything that he has done for one thing, and that's to try to help him make money. Okay? Could you think of anybody who, would pay top dollar for U.S. classified materials? I can think of a few. I can think of the Russians. I can think of the Saudis. I think of all these, a lot of different countries that would be very, very interested to know maybe the nuclear capabilities of this country. Again, it's speculation, right? But I don't really think it's that far off. I mean, it's not like any member of the Trump family wasn't super friendly with, I don't know, Mohammed bin Salman, perhaps? The Saudi prince? Gee, I don't know. But, again, I don't think you can discount anything like that. I don't think that's off the table. Again, pure speculation on my part, and I will admit that. But let's get to my final point here. Look at the shift of blame. Going from, how dare you raid my house, to the FBI planted information. They planted classified documents during the raid of my house, even though we watched it over CCTV and we had our lawyers present. And by the way, those documents, they weren't even classified because I had already declassified that information. So, okay. And then, sure, they were classified documents, but you know what? It wasn't actually Donald Trump's fault. No, it was Mark Meadows. They dropped the ball. Innocent mistake. What a dummy. Coffee boy. Idiot. Moron, etc. Yesterday I talked about how Trump was like, we need to lower the temperature, okay? Even though FBI, totally terrible, witch hunt, like Russia hoax, but we need to lower the temperature in the country. Well, now, I guess it appears that he, at least in my view, is trying to lower the temperature by saying it wasn't my fault. It was Mark Meadows. He's a dummy. That's what he is. How dare the FBI do this to me over a mistake made by my stupid subordinate? Can you believe how weaponized the FBI is? But I'm trying to lower the temperature. No, it's any excuse that they can use to try to protect Trump from any consequences from mishandling classified materials. And to try to prevent him, ironically, from penalties that he himself would have imposed on anyone else who mishandled classified materials. So, yeah, how's that for irony? Maybe facing some sort of, consequences that he caused himself, by actually taking those materials and then signing a law saying, oh, you're going to get prison time for taking materials. Okay, moving on.
It's caused the greatest fundraising. My father's poll numbers have absolutely gone through the roof. They're not even talking about any other Republican candidates because they've all kind of, disappeared. They're not even in the equation. I mean, last night I had an argument between two people in a restaurant who are trying to buy Laura and I dinner to apologize to what for what the United States government has done to our family, Sean. I mean, you wouldn't believe the energy out there.
No, you're right. I wouldn't believe that. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe a little bit of energy, but I wouldn't believe any of the other stuff that he just said. Look, that's Eric Trump, of course, talking about things that likely didn't happen, but he wishes would. I'm sure he does wish that rando people would try to buy him dinner because, well, that's him not having to pay for dinner. No, I don't think any regular person is out there begging to buy and fighting with each other to buy Eric Trump and Laura dinner to apologize over the Mar-a-Lago search. It's just not happening. It's just not a real thing. Now, for one, where do you think they dine at? Definitely not a place where the bill isn't at least $200 for a bottle of wine. You think that they're regular people? No, they're not regular people. They're people who pretend to be super, super rich, but are kind of rich. A little bit. They're not average people. They're not going to eat at McDonald's. They're not going to be at Ponderosa. Okay, well, Trump would eat at McDonald's, but he'd send someone else to go through the drive-thru. Just saying. But anyway, fancy restaurant, probably some rich clientele, not the average person, especially not the average person that's going to sit here and fight over, we want to buy you dinner because we feel sorry for you. No. Okay, so, but here's the point that he's, I guess, trying to make. He's out there trying to claim that the entire country is against the search of Mar-a-Lago. No, that's not true. In fact, look, I've got some polling here. The most recent from August 10th. This is from a Politico Morning Consult poll about how Americans feel about the search of Mar-a-Lago. Okay. Turns out about half of Americans do approve the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago. Oh, interesting. Very interesting indeed. Now, obviously, of course, Democrats are going to support it. Independents, mostly in favor or don't know. And obviously, Republicans strongly or somewhat disapprove. Okay. So, fun. Now, that same poll, by the way, found that nearly 2/3 of the country, about 58% specifically, either believe that Trump had probably or definitely broke the law as president. So I'm pretty sure the majority of the country is not lining up to apologize to Donald Trump or to buy Eric and his wife dinner. No, but here is the thing that is true. They are sending Trump more money. Yeah. In fact, again, he said, the one thing I'll tell you is that it's caused great fundraising. That is true. And that is largely, of course, because Donald Trump had blasted out fundraising emails to his supporters as early as the morning after the FBI search. In fact, Trump's Save America PAC sent out fundraising emails in which Trump urged supporters to rush in a donation immediately to publicly stand with me against this never-ending witch hunt. Trump in the email cast this lawful search of his estate as an attack on his supporters, weird, saying the FBI raid violated not only my home, but the home of every patriotic American who I have been fighting for since that iconic moment I came down the golden escalators in 2015. Really? So somehow the FBI search violated every single person's home. But that's not true, because every single person wasn't hiding classified documents at their house. Again, the whole thing's ridiculous, right? As well as the whole narrative of, oh, if the FBI can do this to you, or I'm sorry, if they can do it to me, they can do it to you. hey, they could always do it to you. The only difference is most people, again, the vast majority, don't have classified documents from the White House sitting in their in their basement. Okay, ridiculous, right? He said, I need every single red-blooded American patriot to step up during this time and send me money, because that's how you fight. You send me money. It's just, again, pure grift, right? But another thing that Eric Trump said that is true, because we do deal on facts in the show, is that Trump's poll numbers have gotten better. Now, in fact, he said, my father's poll numbers have gone through the roof. They're not even talking about any other Republican candidates because they have all kind of disappeared. They're not even in the equation. So that is, there is a change here. Last month, for example, 53% of Republican voters and Republican leading independents said that they would vote for Mr. Trump in the 2024 primary if it were held that day. Following the search, the same poll found, the same organization, found that number for Mr. Trump had climbed to 57%, while support for DeSantis dropped from 23 to 17. No other Republican candidate came anywhere close. Now, these are, of course, national polls, and of course, polls can change, to be fair. Now, in Florida, though, it's a little bit different, to show you that there is a bit of a contrast. Now, Ron DeSantis, who is expected to be someone who is going to announce their own attempt at the presidency, and, of course, is seen as Trump's biggest rival here, well, in Florida, DeSantis is actually doing better than Donald Trump in the state. Now, again, lots of caveats here. Polls are very early. Donald Trump hasn't declared his run for presidency yet. And, you know, you also have the fact that Trump is pushing this narrative that has riled people up, that has riled up members of his base, that he was unlawfully searched. Now, of course, it was by the book. And you have, unfortunately, though, you have a lot of diehard Republicans that have bought that narrative immediately and are now saying things like, ironically, defund the FBI. Not a bad idea, but you're getting at it at kind of the wrong point, or for the wrong reason, because anytime, because remember the Republican Party, the right wing loves law enforcement when they're crushing black people, when they're crushing socialists, when they're crushing left wingers. Okay, but when it comes to the right wing, when they actually go after one of their leaders or the billionaire class and things like that, well, then that's when Republicans, oh, you go after one of us? Oh, no, you can't do that. No, defund the FBI. Defund the police. Get rid of them, because they're actually after us. Because I remember the confusion, for example, on January 6th, where a lot of these Trump supporters that were going into the Capitol were saying things like, what are you talking about? The police is on my side. I thought you guys were supposed to be on my side. What's going on? Why are you attacking us? We're supposed to be together, simpatico. No. And that's why, again, they hated the Capitol Police and railed against them. And so we're just seeing that play out when it comes to the FBI, law enforcement, basically anyone who at this point does not bow to Donald Trump, who really has become a cultish, a cult leader for a lot of Republicans. Well, but as I said before, cults are going to cult, and unfortunately, that's just how it is. All right, moving on. Let's go to some BDE. Well, Republicans love some BDE. What is that? I'll show you. Arizona Republican candidate Kari Lake really loves some BDE. In fact, here she is. Let me change that. Yep. Arizona Republican candidate Kari Lake is loving some BDE. In fact, here she is at one of her recent rallies in Phoenix.
My staff always says, whatever you do, do not say balls. So I'm not going to say it. That guy has a backbone made of steel. I'll tell you what he's got. I don't know if you heard of this, but he's got BDE. Anybody know what that means? Ask your kids about it later. I call it Big DeSantis energy. Right? He's got the same kind of BDE that President Trump has.
Oh, really? That is
bullshit.
Okay. Wow. So again, what does BDE stand for? Oh, it stands for Big Dick Energy. So it's kind of funny why is a Republican candidate, Kari Lake, talking about BDE? That's weird. And by the way, she's not just talking about it, she's tweeting about it. Now, here's an example. Okay. BDE, DeSantis, BDE, Trump. Not BDE. Biden falling up the stairs. Yeah, okay. All right. Do you not remember when Trump had issues with going down a ramp? BDE. Total BDE energy on that one, though. I mean, total BDE. Yeah, of course. Now, what's funny about this is she's talking about that, right? From one of the biggest crybabies in the country. Donald Trump has been crying about an election that he lost for 2 years. Is that strength? I mean, nonstop, by the way. I'm such a victim. Oh, my God. They stole the election from me. I was going to win, but I didn't win because I don't even have any proof, but they took it from me. And I'm such a victim. And look at me. I'm a victim. The media is the deep state. It was Antifa. They're all after me. And see, they made me lose. And they're always the media, their news people are so mean to me. Everybody's so mean. Please send me money. That guy's got BDE? That guy has BDE. Are you kidding me? No, but by the way, let's talk about DeSantis. DeSantis is another person that has absolutely no BDE. This guy's afraid of teachers teaching about racism. Weird. And also afraid of teaching actual history that he decided, you know what? I want to abandon school. I'm going to call it critical race theory. I'm going to take this label that nobody understands what it actually is, and then I'm going to apply it to just teaching racism and history in class. And then I'm going to ban it. I'm going to get rid of it because I don't want you actually having knowledge. I'm afraid of you having knowledge. And by the way, he's also afraid of gay people and trans people, so much so that he doesn't want people knowing about that either. That guy has BDE. Whatever. Now, remember, the entire right-wing movement is made up of two things. And I'm talking about the current right-wing movement, okay? All they have is fear and anger. They're afraid of new ideas. They're afraid of positive change. And they're afraid of things that they don't understand. Everything is a conspiracy. And by the way, they then take these things that they've made up and get angry about them. That's not strength. That's weakness. It's pathetic. Why are you scared of gay and trans people simply existing? How does that affect you? Oh, right. It doesn't. It doesn't have any impact on your life whatsoever. But for some reason, y'all are afraid of it. Anyway, you're not strong. These people are not strong. They're incredibly weak individuals. They use their power to punch down at others who have no power. And they think that that's strength, but it's not strength. DeSantis has absolutely no BDE. No big dick energy. In fact, this guy won't even go up against his donors. Some of the biggest corporate donors for DeSantis are in the financial and real estate industries. In fact, according to Politico, over the last year, DeSantis and his allied political committee have raised more than $7 million from real estate developers, investors, and realtors, making that industry one of the Republican governor's biggest donor groups as he prepares to run for re-election. and maybe president. DeSantis has also raised huge sums from other industries, such as hospitality, which benefited from his early push to reopen Florida's economy, as well as healthcare, insurance, and finance. But his biggest chunk over the past year came from the real estate industry, their aligned executives and associated companies that profited off the administration's policies. So all of this is while Florida had some of the most deaths from COVID, some of the most cases from COVID, and is now also suffering a housing crisis. He's helping the donors, and the reason and the way that he distracts from that is pushing the bullshit culture war, the fear, the nonsense. That's not BDE. BDE isn't taking money from powerful special interests. BDE is standing up against those interests and fighting for the powerless. But see, none of these people have anything resembling anything close to actual strength. No, they're weak, corrupt, and feckless on purpose, with only a veneer of strength, and covered, of course, by their immense sense of personal victimhood. They're always the victims. Always the victims. And Trump encapsulates that perfectly because he plays the victim every single day. It's always somebody else's fault. Always somebody else's fault. Blaming the FBI for taking back classified documents that he took, that he shouldn't have taken in the first place, and that when he was asked to, didn't give them back. And of course, he's out there, he's blaming Merrick Garland, he's blaming Joe Biden, the deep state, and now his own people like Mark Meadows, while crying and crying and crying about being the victim. Oh, poor me. Now shower me with money, please. Give me money. Give me money. No, it's pathetic. And yet that's considered by Republican voters to be strength. Oh, well, he took in the establishment, Jeff. No. He profits, yes, on the illusion that he's against the establishment, and then makes money off the establishment. I mean, he's a grifter, and honestly, the biggest reason members of the establishment don't like Trump is not because he's actually against their own interests. No, it's because he's unsophisticated. He's crass. He's rude. And sometimes a little bit too honest about the terrible things that he wants to do. But when it came to policy is where he and the establishment aligned quite a bit. Trump signed a tax bill that gave 83% of the gains to the richest Americans. Is that strength? Is that fighting the establishment? No. It's giving them absolutely everything that they want. Serving the very people that he claims to be fighting against. Not strength. Definitely not BDE. All right. Let's move on to Ron DeSantis. Florida educators have begun receiving their new Ron DeSantis-approved K-12 curriculum, and it's pretty frightening in how absolutely un-American it is, and how much it actually pushes Christian nationalism. So let's get into the details. Now, this is according to WFLA, who obtained the materials provided by the Florida Department of Education to their state educators from a June 29th training period. Now, the new methods will apparently focus on how to teach about the Constitution, religious liberty, and what the materials call the colonial seeds of American independence. Fun. Now, the trainings are apparently there to prepare teachers for the 2023-2024 school year, with the goal to create what they consider to be a desirable citizen. So what kind of desirable citizen? What is a desirable citizen according to Florida? Well, in one of the slides, the Florida Department of Education shows what it calls the qualities of an upright and desirable citizen. So, okay, let's get to it. All right. Qualities of an upright and desirable citizen: has a thorough knowledge of America's founding principles and documents, and equipped to apply this knowledge. Okay. All right, cool. Demonstrates civic virtue and self-government that promotes the success of the United States constitutional republic, respects the military, elected officials, civic leaders, public servants, and all those who have defended the blessings of liberty. Respect the military. Yes. Understands and defends the United States Constitution, Bill of Rights, and other amendments in their historical context. Recognizes how political ideologies such as communism and totalitarianism conflict with the principles of freedom and democracy, and appreciates the price paid by previous generations to secure the blessings of liberty, and why it is the responsibility of current and future generations to preserve it. So, okay, that's what they consider to be an upright citizen, an upright good citizen, okay? Desirable. Now, how do they plan to get someone to have these qualities? Well, you're not going to be surprised to find out that religion, specifically Christianity, has a lot to do with it. In fact, there was an entire presentation devoted on how to inject religion into government. In fact, the presentation includes a section titled Misconception. The founders desired strict separation of church and state, and the founders only wanted to protect freedom of worship. That's what they titled a misconception. Wait, that is not a misconception. So the United States is not a Christian nation. We're a secular nation, okay? In fact, the first clause in the Bill of Rights states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Now, there's more. Thomas Jefferson, in the 1802 letter to the Danbury Baptist Association, declared that when the American people adopted the Establishment Clause, they built a wall of separation between the church and state. Now, both Jefferson and James Madison felt that state support for a particular religion, or for any religion, was improper, and argued that compelling citizens to support through taxation, a faith that they did not follow, violated their natural right to religious liberty. So, what do you think would happen if the state established a religion? You would end up likely having to either subsidize it in some way through your tax money, or again, be forced to follow the tenets of said religion. Both things are obviously against the First Amendment, the freedom of religion. But there's more. The materials also go into details about how the modern understanding of the separation of church and state contained a misconception that the Supreme Court of the United States was the final authority on the U.S. Constitution. You see, of course, when the Supreme Court interpreted the meaning, they interpreted everything wrong. And they actually point out some specific cases. But before we get to that, they talked about the correct interpretation. The only type of interpretation explicitly described in the presentation on the highest court in its role was originalism, a form of judicial review focused on tying modern law to the plain meaning of the Constitution. So basically, that's what Scalia and Thomas believe in. Not that the Constitution is a living document that changes with the times. Because, for example, we no longer wear powdered wigs and use muskets and have indoor plumbing. We have those things, okay? Things have changed. We no longer enslave people that are black. So as the country changes, you should have a documented constitution that can be, allowed to change with it. But they said, no, in Florida, only originalism must be taught because our way is the correct way, even though we've completely misconstrued what the founders have actually believed. Now, let me go to those court cases, right? Everson v. Board of Education back in 1947, Engel v. Vitale in 1962, and American Legion v. American Humanist Association. That was in 2019. Now, each of those cases, cited by the Florida Department of Education in their training materials, had different effects for federal and state laws. For example, Everson v. Board of Education basically expanded limits on government to make rules regarding certain religion. And after Everson, the Establishment Clause was expanded to state laws so that the state cannot establish a religion. Ego v. Vitale, in that decision, SCOTUS ruled that public schools, as well as state officials, were blocked when it came to writing or encouraging official prayers for public schools, as it would equal a violation of the First Amendment. Now, remember that they're against those. The whole point of Scalia's originalist interpretation is, no, we're against those other interpretations that we think that religion should be prominent in government, prominent in school, prominent all across the country. So, and look, in 2019, by the way, the American Legion decision also ruled that longstanding monuments, even those with a religious theme, may still be maintained on public and government lands, saying that over time, additional meanings for the items come from the community, adding to the purpose of or significance of what were originally religious items, something that, of course, they are in favor of keeping. Okay, so now the presentation on religious liberty ends with the following notes. Sorry, let me get to the here. Oh, okay. I don't have that. I don't have that for some reason, but okay, that's fine. Let me tell you, the presentation on religious liberty ends with the following notes. Historical facts and truths must be presented in the classroom. Facts must be grounded in the primary source documentation, and founders expected religion to be promoted because they believed it was essential to civic virtue. So look, right there, that last part, religion to be promoted, that's not at all true. Again, many of the founding fathers, Washington, Jefferson, Franklin, Madison, and Monroe, actually practiced what they call deism. Now, deism is a philosophical belief in human reason as a reliable means of solving social and political problems. Deists believe in a supreme being who created the universe to operate solely by natural laws, and then after creation, disappeared, gone. Now, this belief in reason over dogma helped guide the founders towards a system of government that respected faiths like Christianity, while purposely isolating both from encroaching on one another. No government in your religion, no religion in your government. Okay? As to not dilute the overall purpose and objectives of either. But here you have the right wing that's going against that. That wants something different, that want to put, religion back into government and to have government take over religion. Or I'm sorry, religion take over government, and for the government to spread religion, to enforce religious dogma. So what they're doing in order to, I guess, achieve this aim is by indoctrinating young people, by putting false ideological materials into public school. Now they go on, while providing instruction on how to teach about what they call virtuous citizenship, okay, which is not specifically defined in the presentation. The Florida educational materials show a flowchart set related to preserving liberty and the principles of citizens in the U.S. Here's that. Dangers of a lack of virtue. Okay. Anchored in principles. Virtuous citizen equals preserved liberty. A distorted understanding of principles equals a misguided citizen, which diminishes liberty. Authority figures gain power over citizens. Oh no. And then finally, if you're not rooted in principles, you are a licentious citizen, which leads to lost liberty and citizens that become subject to tyranny. So now, by the way, being licentious means being promiscuous or to behave in a way that is not considered sexually moral. Sexually, wait, the people that are bringing up, the groomers in the schools, the teachers are all grooming the children to be gay, and they're bringing all this sexuality in the classroom. They're talking about being licentious. Or again, to behave in a way that is not considered sexually moral, according to the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. So they're saying that tyranny comes from
sexual anarchy. That's
what they believe. That's what they're teaching in Florida now. Again, you want to talk about grooming. Why is this in the school textbook? Why is this in a school, teaching materials? Oh, hey, you better teach the kids not to have sex we don't like. And you got to teach them that, because if they do the sex that we don't like, they invite tyranny. What? What is that? What does that have to do with anything? What? Look, what this is the right wing trying to groom children into being members of the religious right. That's what they're doing. Instead of allowing people to make choices to, get into a faith because I have no problem with people having a religion. I have no problem with people having faith. Okay. And believing in a religion. Totally fine with that. I respect your right. I don't believe in it, but I respect your right to believe in your own religion. And if you come to it later in life, because as a lot do, and say, no, I'm going to convert. I'm going to become a Christian. I'm going to be whatever, right? Whatever religion. I'm going to be Buddhist or Muslim, whatever. Okay, great. Good for you. You've made that decision later in life after reflection and thought. Perfect. Good for you. I hope it works out. But this is trying to drill these principles into children. That's what they're doing. And again, the same thing, this is the same thing that they think that the left is doing, but again, not with religion, but with, I guess, secularism or whatever, right? But here's the thing, every accusation from them, from the far right, is a confession. They want to groom children into their belief systems because they know they can't win over adults. Yeah, sure, they have very old people who are hooked on conservative media. They have those, and basically the biggest tool that they have is their media apparatus, which is gigantic. But they haven't won over regular people. In fact, look, the majority of the country is actually religious, but they believe in the separation of church and state. 2/3 of U.S. adults, 67%, say the Constitution was written by humans and reflects their vision and not necessarily God's vision. And a similar share, which is about 69%, say that the government should never declare any official religion. Now, what's scary, of course, is that you have a third of this country that thinks, oh no, Iran, they got it right. I mean, except with the whole Muslim thing. We would like to do what they do, except with Christianity. Oh, or, Afghanistan, yeah, they're doing it right, except with the whole Muslim thing, right? No, we would like to have Christianity, fundamentalist Christianity. Again, they are fundamentalist theocracies. And by the way, the ones who support that the most are evangelical Protestants. And that brings me to the big question here. Say the right wing wins. Right-wingers, those of you who are hate watching me right now, and I know you are. Say you guys won on religious liberty, okay? Say you made this country, the United States, into a Christian nation. You have established a religion. Okay, well, the question is, which religion? Well, Christianity, of course. Well, which denomination of Christianity? Which one will be on top? Is it going to be the Baptists? Is it going to be the Methodists? The Lutherans? What about the Catholics? Are the Catholics going to be on top? What about the Protestants? Which one is going to be on top? Which one is going to rule? Okay, this is like the ring. Okay, in Lord of the Rings. What one ring to rule them all, right? Well, which ring? Or is it more like Highlander? There can only be one. There can only be one that rules. Now, here's the thing. Be careful what you wish for. When you have a secular government, then that means that there's room for everyone, since everyone is treated equally and lives under the same rules. But once you have one religion that's on top, that's when things devolve. Look at Iraq, okay? The Shias and the Sunnis, they're not exactly friendly with each other. They're both Muslims, but they both tend to hate each other. And that leads to violence over very minuscule differences. And you know what? That happens because they don't have a separation between church and state. Where they have these, religious minorities that are not, it's not just that they're not protected, that they're also vilified by the state themselves and often used as scapegoats. When you don't have a separation of church and state, you end up getting a fertile ground for religious violence. And this is while oppressing everyone else, not to mention, people of other religions. Because there are people who have no religion, by the way. And that's not exactly what freedom's about. So again, with Republicans that are teaching this stuff in Florida, what they're really doing is not trying to create these upstanding citizens. No, what they're doing is they're grooming the next generation into becoming like them, into tools, essentially. The tools of the religious right, we're going to vote reliably conservative, which will continue, of course, to enrich corporations and corporate donors, but also help the churches and the religious groups take over and get control. And when that happens, that's going to eliminate all the freedom that this country is supposed to stand for. That's why it's important to point this out, and most importantly, to stop it, to try to keep this country secular. Okay. Comparing the Muslim religion to Christianity is foolish. With what's wrong with this guy? I actually have a grasp on factual information. I don't know what's wrong with you. Let me guess, you're a fundamentalist who agrees with everything that they're trying to do. All right. Let's have some fun with Lauren Boebert. Neighbors of Representative Lauren Boebert, a little bit of a run-in with that family and decided to call the police. Now, I'm going to show you some excerpts from a 911 call that started when the two, I should say, the Boebert family got into a little bit of an argument, a little bit of a possible scuffle with all of their neighbors. So now let me show you that, and then we'll talk about it.
There's a domestic situation happening right in front of my driveway, and now he's driving away, I think, just about fighting. There's it's bad. It's Lauren Boebert's jackass husband, Jason. He's running over my mailbox right now. Stop, you jackass! Get the out of here!
And you said
Come on, man.
Running over your
what
mailbox?
are you doing? What did we do wrong?
Someone that's
Lauren
been over your
Boebert's
mailbox.
jackass husband.
Lauren?
Jason Boebert.
Jason? Okay.
Lauren Boebert's
What's he
husband.
driving?
Yeah, Lauren Boebert, the congresswoman. Jason Boebert is as dumb as a post, but this guy is so irrational. So irrational. He just got chest to chest, face to face, looking to fight. And we're talking about everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody here is a neighbor. So he just drove off. He's at his house. He just lives up the street.
Understand
Jason's
completely.
probably drunk. So
Okay.
you could probably
Did
get
he
him
have
for
any
DUI
weapons?
because he just drove down here.
Sir,
yeah,
did he have
I'm
any
sure
weapons?
he's loaded to the hilt. Do you know who his wife is? Lauren Boebert, she's loaded. They all have guns. Yes.
Okay, just had
I don't know if anybody has guns on them.
Okay.
I would guess he's drunk, and yeah, of course he owns guns.
Doesn't it sound great to live in Lauren Boebert's neighborhood? Gee, wouldn't you just love to have those neighbors? What a great community that sounds like. And by the way, it actually does sound like a good community, minus the Boebert family. I mean, come on. Now, again, both 911 callers, and this is just one of the calls. There were other calls from, again, all these different neighbors. They said that the incident began when Boebert's son was going down the street in a buggy and then was asked, hey, why don't you slow down? There could be kids walking around, okay? He then told them to F off. He's just speeding up and down the road all over the place, just freaking through his property. He's going like 50 miles an hour, and this is a residential lane. There's kids. We tried to stop him, and he just freaking cussed at us and just left. And then this guy, once they actually, challenged the kid and told him to please slow down, you're a danger. Here comes Jason Boebert, who, by the way, exposed his penis to an underage girl, a 17-year-old, at a bar while he was hanging out with Lauren Boebert's stepdad. So again, great person, right? Comes out and I don't know if he was drunk. Maybe he was, and then maybe he had gotten to his car or truck and drove drunk all up on the road and then smashed and flattened this neighbor's mailbox. Yeah, great neighbors, wonderful. And he said it, he pointed out something very important too. They all have guns. Yeah, they all have guns. You know how easily this could have escalated? Again, they're all massively armed. You saw the Christmas cards. All this weaponry and absolutely no respect for anyone that is living on the road. That's who the Boeberts are. These are gross people. It's not because they're, by the way, the Republicans. No, that's just, I guess, in Republican circles nowadays, that's considered to be great. No, these are just garbage people overall who just happen to be Republicans. No, they're gross. They're gross. Now, that said, the dispatcher did send officers to that scene. Now, according to the Garfield County Sheriff's Office, they decided to let the neighbors settle their own dispute, saying everybody agreed to work it out. Oh, they agreed to work it out. No charges, no further action. Gee, I wonder if that has anything to do with Lauren Boebert being a congresswoman. And when confronted by the 911 calls with evidence of possible drunk driving, speeding, property destruction, and threats to harm other people, well, the sheriff's office had very, very little to say. Look at, again, terrible, terrible neighbors, but what do you expect from people like Lauren Boebert? Not bar, bowling alley. There are some, Mr. Shadows, or Mr. Shadow, there are some bowling alleys, or a lot of bowling alleys, that have a bar in them. So, either or. I'm like half right. They need Ryan's neighbor to lend a hand. Or what about Rand Paul's neighbor? All right. Anyway, that's all I got today. It's a quick show. I want to thank everybody for joining me, growing around the nation with me today. Really, really appreciate it. Please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. I'll go and read some. Let's see. Gabby Mathis, thank you very much for the very kind $5. Really, really appreciate that. Let's go here and see what's going on Twitch. For some reason, I didn't have that open. Let's see. Nope. Nothing new going on here on Twitch. That's okay. So, that said, thank you, everybody. We'll raid the, let's see. KF Logan 1875. Let's do a raid over there. It appears they seem to be talking about the interview between Cenk Uygur and Brianna Joy Gray. So, I watched that earlier. Very interesting. Little left-wing drama for you all. For everyone else, thank you. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We will see you all later.
Sexual anarchy.
Internet. I will eat your ass.
I like my meat tight. Tighten up my meat.
Wet ass keyword.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.